Porsche Esports Carrera Cup Great Britain continues. Welcome everybody to Barcelona for races 9 and 10 of what is turning out to be a fascinating season with a real variety of winners. If you've joined us in previous seasons and been used to the phrase Sebastian Job wins, well, we've only heard it twice so far. 6 different winners within the pro category, 3 different winners in AM. The form driver of late has been Christian Scheruter. But as far as the championship is concerned in pro, Will Chadwick has the advantage by 3 points from Sebastian Job. Charlie Collins, a double winner, is third. Christian Scheruter heads Guy Edwards and the absent Tom Stevens within the AM class. David Addison and Paul Smith with you for what promised, Paul, to be 2 really good races. First time the championship has been to Barcelona.
Yes, and it's on the more historic layouts. We've not got that fiddly chicane at the end of the lap, which is much appreciated from the series or from us here in the commentary box. Thank you very much for that. But it's been a real mixed bag. You're absolutely right there, David, with so many different winners in pro. Second half of the season now. Are we going to finally see somebody secure themselves at the front there in pro?
Well, after Donington, Snetterton, Alton Park and the Silverstone International Circuit, this is our bucket and spade race, as it were, going to Spain before Thruxton, very, very fast circuit, Donington's Grand Prix circuit and Brands Hatch to round out the year. You're right, we're getting towards the crunch point, aren't we? Qualifying is about to get underway, 10 minutes, and it is 10 minutes and 0 seconds, not 10 minutes plus the lap you're on. When you get to 10 minutes, the flag goes out, the session stops, so even if you are a gnat's crotchet away from finishing your best lap, hard luck. If you haven't done it in time, you don't get the time. Then we have a quick break before the first of the 2 25-minute races. And remember, in pro, race 1 is the race in which to do well for more advantageous points, because it's 12 for a win, not the 10 that you will get in race 2, which has that top 8 semi-reversed grid. So Charlie Collins, Sebastian Job, Aidan Walsingham, Luke Pennington, Remy Gilbert, Will Chadwick, those are the drivers that have done the winning within the pro class this season. It means that Will Chadwick is the man leading the championship, as I say, only 3 points to the good over Sebastian Job, with Charlie Collins third. Matt Caruana 4th, Remy Gilbert is 5th and Leo Garibaldi 6th. The very unlucky Pete Berryman 7th from race winners Aidan Walsingham and Luke Pennington. Gareth Higgins rounds out the top 10 in pro. Christian Scheruter is now 18 points clear of Guy Edwards in AM. Christian's been showing off a little bit of late because he's done 5 wins on the bounce. Guy Edwards has had 1 win. Tom Stevens has had 2 right at the start of the year at Donington, but he wasn't in the server for practice and he did miss the last event. Scott Mokes, Fraser Hart and Kieran Harding round out your top 6 in AM. So, drivers now starting to join the server for practice. Before we go much further, Paul, a word about Aidan Walsingham, because the car looks rather different.
Yeah, we've got the Zebra in effect here. BS Competition have signed themselves a new driver here, Aidan Walsingham, and what a turnaround it's been for Aidan, having won last season's AM Championship, coming into this season without any team affiliation. He's really impressed here, got his first podium and then his first win this season as well overall, and it's really looking promising. So the other way is up, as Yaz once said.
Yes, for our younger viewers, Yaz is Paul's favourite band that was around in 1864. So this session, hugely important, of course, to the grid. It's not the easiest of circuits to overtake on, but there is that nice long pit straight into a heavy braking zone, and there's the turn 10 hairpin as well, which might just play to your favour. Now, the other thing to factor into all of this is it is very dark already. We seem to spend most of Silverstone in the dark, and here we are again.
Yeah, it's just gone 10 o'clock in sim time in the evening, so yeah, dark, track conditions nice and cool for them as well, so they will be able to push those tyres a bit more, but it just means at the start of qualifying they're having to, 1, burn off some fuel, because they want to get the car as light as possible and push towards the end of qualifying here, and 2, those tyres, they'll just take that little bit longer to get up to temperature and pressure as well.
Now, Pete Berryman you're riding with, who has been desperately unlucky for the bulk of this season. Let's see whether he can turn around fortunes here at Barcelona. He's got a clear racetrack ahead of him as he makes the climb then now around that long hairpin at turn 10 into 11. This is 12, looping you uphill. Pole positions, 2 of them have gone to Sebastian Job, 1 apiece to Will Chadwick and Charlie Collins. In AM, Tom Stevens has had a pole, Scott Moat has had a pole, and 2 to Christian Scheruter.
Be interested to see whether Christian could carry on that good run of form. So don't expect to see lightning quick times as they come across the line this time around. In practice, they were getting 1:43.3, so that's going to be the kind of time that we're looking at for in terms of qualifying. But Fraser Hart, it's nice to see an AM at the top of the an AM at the top of the standings. Fraser Hart, Sebastian Hawkins there. Let's stop the clock now, David.
Yes, exactly. It's going to be a random grid if it were to stay this way. You get the feeling, don't you, that the pros are betting themselves in gently. They're building up to this, and we often talk about Sebastian Job being nowhere, and then right at the very end, bang, he appears on pole position. Sort of how Colin Turkington always used to treat qualifying in touring car racing, but we'll see what he can do. The clock, though, doesn't half tick quickly. We're already at the halfway point, pretty much, just over 5.5 minutes of the session to go. And this is Berryman's View, heading then now down towards turns 7 and 8. That's 7, this is 8. Ride the curb, don't unsettle the car too much, because there's a very unforgiving concrete wall on the right-hand side that quite often you can spin into. Over the brow, this is 9, blind corner. The road starts to drop downhill. Big grandstand on the right as you get to the braking area for turn 10, and this is an overtaking opportunity.
It certainly is. It's one that will take a bit of a lunge into, though. You will have to be a bit brave going into that one, I do feel. It's quite a long lap around here, 4.7 kilometres, so you're not actually getting that many laps in qualifying here to set your lap time. So, one, you can't afford to get a wheel off track and for the iRacing system to classify that as an off-track incident, because that will invalidate your lap time. And yeah, as I say, get a banker lap in. 43.9, that's the first of our quicker laps coming in now.
Yeah, Berryman goes top from Caruana, then Aidan Walsingham, then it changes again as Luke Pennington, who's been a race winner this season, goes second, Remy Gilbert to third. Going to be a lot of headlight spotting this evening as they come towards us, looking very GT, very sort of Spa 24 hours in the gloom, in the darkness. And now Will Chadwick posts his first proper lap time, only puts him 11th. And where is Sebastian Job in all of this? He is currently 20th, Sebastian, but you get the feeling that he will pull one out of the bag at the very end. That's Luke Pennington, going well thus far.
He certainly is. I thought it was interesting to note that Pete Berryman, as soon as he finished his hot lap there, he backed off the throttle because he wanted to look after those tyres. He didn't want to have a second push lap, so he's just letting them cool down that little bit, get them back into that working temperature, and then he'll push on for a final push lap here. But yeah, Luke Pennington, great to see his turn of fortunes after, let's face it, last season. Not the best run of form last season, always getting involved in incidents, but getting a race win under his belt this year. Okay, he's only had one other point scoring result here this season, but it was good to see Luke get to the top step of the podium.
Absolutely, and to have a season where we've had 6 different winners already is very, very interesting, isn't it? And a real contrast from what we've become used to with the Sebastian Job steamroller. This is Pennington's view then as he hustles the car on towards the end of the lap. Drops downhill. This is out of 13 to 14. Pit in on the right-hand side. Big grandstand on the left. Race control, media centre, pit lane on the right. Breaks the beam. Aidan Walsingham goes to the top of the times. Matt Caruana is second. Luke Pennington is now fourth. Job quickest, there you go, with 2 3/4 minutes to go. He was the fastest, but now Charlie Collins goes quicker still by 83 thousandths of a second.
Don't forget, last time out, Silverstone, Charlie Collins was on pole position, got that walk-away win in the first race of the evening, so he'll be hoping for some more. Aidan Walsingham using all of the track and then some on the entry into turn number 4. He's trying everything he can to extract any time out of this track, but only 0.13 of a second off of pole position. Brand new team, it's working out so well, and in fact he's abandoning the lap, and that'll be his qualifying.
Indeed, which would put him third provisionally, depending on whether anybody else goes quicker. And this is the man that might displace him, Matt Caruana, hustling on then with these 4-litre, 460 horsepower cars coming up towards turn 12, turn 13. And Caruana has been rapid over the course of the season. Best result that he's had, second, going back to the reverse grid race at Donington, and he's bailed as well. So has Job, because he has pitted. So Charlie Collins, Sebastian Job. Now, where in all of this is the championship leader? The answer is 13th. Will Chadwick is having a torrid time, and he's going to have to dig deep, isn't he, on this last lap?
He certainly is, and I think he's been stuck in traffic all the way through this qualifying as well. Got himself a little bit of a gap there behind Luke Pennington, but he needs to make this lap count, because this is his last opportunity.
Yeah, he's not got time for another one, so Will Chadwick down to 13th. He comes up towards the timing line. He's got to improve if he can on this lap, and he breaks the beam and does go fourth fastest. Phew, which soon becomes fifth thanks to Pete Berryman. So Will Chadwick fifth. That was a get out of jail free card in a sense, wasn't it? Because it was looking very bleak.
Yeah, it was, and he's going to be starting on the same side of the grid behind Sebastian Job, so his main championship protagonist. But Charlie Collins, top of the standings again. That's an extra 2 points in the bank.
It is indeed, so that puts him on 49 against the 58 of Job for second in the championship. You can see that there is Charlie Collins back into the pit lane, his work done for the Coanda Esports team, and there are very few people still circulating apart from Jamie Fluke, who had a far better Silverstone than he had previous races, so it was good to have Jamie being competitive once again. The flag is imminent, 6 seconds and counting here at the Circuit de Catalunya. And the flag goes out then, qualifying at an end. And Charlie Collins, it is then, who takes pole position. And that is a second of the season for him. Pete Berryman is going to line up second on the grid. Third is Sebastian Job, fourth Aidan Walsingham. Will Chadwick starts fifth, and his teammate Matt Caruana is there to help sixth, ahead of Jamie Fluke. And then Remy Gilbert. Next up, Luke Pennington, and then Leo Gariboli to round out the top 10. 11th is Jacob Toft, and starting 12th, Gareth Higgins. 13th is James Dennison, ahead of Crofton Woodhatch. Then Kieran Harding. Is that Am Pole for him, ahead of Will Eatwell. Will Eatwell ahead of Kieran Harding. Then you've got Scott Mopes and Christian Chiruta starting 18th on the grid. 19th, it is Guy Edwards, ahead of Sebastian Hawkins. Then Scott Brazier and Fraser Hart. Gordon Marshall is next, and then James Parker, who joined the server late for free practice. 24th, Dylan Freckleton, the Manxman, is going to round out the grid. So everybody now starts to rejoin the server, ready for this first of two races. Remember, 25 minutes we have in prospect. And Charlie Collins lining up on pole position, pole on the outside here. He's got that 1x1 staggered grid advantage. Waiting for the rest to join, and then we get set for this first of the two races. But Charlie Collins, we have not seen very much of in the past in terms of Carrera Cup GB esports, but we have seen Super Cup, and he's always been very, very quick indeed in that. So the drivers then good to go. Countdown continues. The lights in a moment or two will go red. So in the darkness here for race 9 of Porsche Esports Carrera Cup Great Britain. Charlie Collins sits on pole position and looks towards the lights. Then everybody else rejoins the server. We are good to go racing. 25 minutes are on the clock. And any second now, it will be blast off. What sort of a start can Charlie Collins get then from pole position as they accelerate away? It's a good launch and a good start also by Sebastian Job on the way down towards turn 1. Charlie Collins converts pole into the race lead, moves himself across the racetrack, trying to cover off the inside line as they drop down towards turn 1. And this is always a pinch point. Job tries to get up the inside to go second, and it doesn't work. Good start by Aidan Walsingham as well, but Charlie Collins then leads the pack, and already we've got cars off the road. There's been drama going through that turn 1, 2 and 3 sequence. The road climbs uphill at this point, but it's Collins from Berryman. Good getaway by Pete. Job third, Walsingham fourth, Chadwick fifth, and Caruana sixth.
It's Christian Zeruta who's facing the wrong way at turn number 2, so your AM Championship leader not getting pole position here. Kieran Harding quite rightly said he's pole position. Look at this, Will Chadwick bang into the door of Aidan Walsingham. Welcome to your new team. I want a bit of your paint there, Aidan. And, well, Will Chadwick still side by side. This is very close and tight between the two of them.
And it's not the Will Chadwick we've often seen. He's a lot more feisty, a lot sooner, isn't he? We've often talked about the fact that he needs to get stuck in. Well, here he is. So lap 1, knowing that Job's up the road and he's got to get on with this. He goes to the outside line. Walsingham will defend that. Caruana comes up the inside. Chadwick does not need his teammate taking a place away from him. Will's got the outside line for 10, the outside line for 11, but the road will come back to him at 12. So Will Chadwick goes back ahead. This is Luke Pennington's view, and that is Matt Caruana ahead. But while they've all been squabbling, Remy Gilbert gets up the inside of Pennington and goes through. And also going by in 89 there, Leo Garibaldi. So Pennington has been forced down the order. He falls to 9th ahead of Jacob Toft. While all that was going on, I was about to say, Aidan Walsingham just got a bit of a gap again over Chadwick.
He certainly did, and the problem is that all that fighting has allowed the front three to get a bit of a breakaway. The rest of the peloton, led by Aidan Walsingham, down into turn number 1. These cars, they don't produce the biggest of slipstreams, so you do need to be about half a second behind the car in front to really start feeling the effects of that slipstream. But yeah, the drivers going through round turn 3 into 4. And it's still Collins for Berryman, and then Job, then Walsingham ahead of Chadwick and Caruana. Your leading AM is Scott Merckx. So Scott has been able to get ahead of Kieran Harding in all of this, with Guy Edwards 3rd place in AM.
So Charlie Collins then now 0.6 of a second clear. Pete Berryman 2nd, Sebastian Job 3rd. And Christian Scheruter has got quite a lot of hard work to do, hasn't he? He is still circulating, he's not bailed, so we've still got 25 cars running. Christian Scheruter at the back of the pack then, as down they come, getting a replay of what happened on the first lap. Kieran Harding, I think, was partly to blame. There was certainly contact, wasn't there, between Christian Scheruter and Kieran Harding, as there, Chadwick gets himself up past Walsingham for 4th place. So Will Chadwick is on a charge.
That was crucial for Will. He needed to do that, and now he needs to try and break the gap there. Normally you would say, well, he's going to help his teammate Matt Caruana out, but no, I think Will just has to get the boot down now, get the pedal into the Axminster and really charge after that front 3, because Collins is trying to break away at the front. He's trying to break that slipstream of those behind, but he's not been able to do so. And Seb Hawkins with possibly the worst start of the day.
Yeah, it wasn't the best, was it? Far from it. As another demon dive is made against Aidan Walsingham. So Matt Caruana trying to find a way past, and he's got to, because he's also got Remy Gilbert breathing down his neck. So riding on board with Remy Gilbert here. That is Caruana ahead. Now what can Chadwick do about Job? There's quite a gap, isn't there, of round about 2 seconds between Job and Chadwick, while Will has been a bit delayed. So Sebastian Job has been able to pull away up the road.
Yeah, and that was the disadvantage of getting involved in all that shenanigans and fighting for position, as Jacob Toft decided that the racing line wasn't the one for him, and instead he took an Iberian line instead through the gravel trap. But yeah, the interesting one here for me is Caruana and Gilbert, because those two, there's only 2 points separating them coming into this week of the championship. So those two have got a bit of a championship fight on themselves.
Now, Pete Berryman going after Charlie Collins. They cross swords at Alton Park. Pete Berryman is just dropping away slightly. The gap's crept up to the wrong side of a second. Then it comes down a fraction under braking at the next timing point. Sebastian Job is 3rd, and we'll see what he can do about that top 2 as well. Sebastian's best lap has been a 44.1, quicker than Berryman, but not as quick as Charlie Collins. So maybe Job for 2nd is an option before the end of the race. Still got just under 20 minutes to go, but Charlie Collins looking solid up front for the time being, at least.
Sebastian just getting some good points. He's catching a little bit more in the championship over Will Chadwick by being that place in front of him. And Sebastian knows what it takes to win a championship, not just at a canter, as we've seen him doing this championship in the past, but also when he's been involved in a real dogfight for a championship as well. He has been tested in the past and he knows what it takes to win this championship, and I don't see any rash moves being made by him, but I could see him starting making some moves with Collins now really breaking that slipstream.
Christian Chiruta, incidentally, is now making progress. He's got himself up past James Parker, so Christian is working his way back through the AM order and getting closer to better points all the time. Luke Pennington, meanwhile, is 10th, and you're looking at the AM leader, Scott Moakes, in the bottom picture. Scott's not disappearing up the road necessarily, is he? Because Kieran Harding is still there behind him, but one would question whether or not Kieran's result stands, because surely that incident at the first corner is going to get looked at.
I mean, they will look at it as Sebastian Job up into second place, and Pete Berryman, I have a feeling that Pete has just backed out of that and said, come on Seb, you're the quicker driver, you try and pull me along with you to take us back towards Charlie Collins here.
And the gap had gone up anyway, hadn't it, to 1.7 seconds. So Sebastian Job now does set off in pursuit of Charlie Collins as they come out of turn 13 downhill. The Red Bull liveried car of Sebastian Job turns through up towards the end of the lap. Very wide out of turn 14 over the timing line. So Charlie Collins leads, Sebastian Job second. 1.7 seconds is your starting point, and already 3/10 back on that is Berryman. Now Chadwick fourth. He will have seen possibly Job get through. He'll have got the message on Discord, I'm sure. So Chadwick now needs to go after Berryman. He cannot sit there and be, if you like, giving away points to Job. If Job's getting up the order, Chadwick's got to mirror that.
You almost... Normally you would say, oh well, you can play the reverse grid draw and be able to gain the points back that way, but not with the way that Sebastian Job normally works his way through a reverse grid draw. So yeah, definitely Will's got to follow him, and he's got to get charging hard now against Pete Berryman and moving forward in this one to take that championship fight to Sebastian. But it's been Will who's controlled this championship from the start of the season, but Sebastian has been slowly just eking away that championship gap, and after last time's results, Charlie Collins is also making a little bit of headway as well.
Bear in mind though, Sebastian Job has had a couple of races where he's copped a penalty, and so you could argue that had it not been for those indiscretions, he would be ahead in the championship anyway. He's not, he has had those penalties, but the pace is certainly there. But like we keep saying, 6 different winners thus far this season is perhaps not what we anticipated at the start of the year. Sebastian Job then, look back from his car, he's second, that's Berryman behind, but Berryman's car is getting smaller, meaning he's falling away, and Will Chadwick is 1.2 seconds back from him. So Berryman to Chadwick, the next gap to look for. They come up towards the line. Walsingham is in 5th, it's Matt Caruana 6th, this is Chadwick's view, and just up the road ahead you can see the red car in the hands of Pete Berryman as they break for turn 1. The Drago Racing entry just ahead, Will Chadwick for the EMM Sports team. At 12th, for Grant Motorsport, is Crofton Woodhatch.
And Jacob Toft is making some moves as well. He's fighting with Will Eatwell and Gareth Higgins as well. So changing positions further down the field as well. Dylan Freckleton getting involved, and well, you can't miss Dylan's car, can't you, with the flame effects down the side of it? Well, yeah. Normally you can't, but it's so dark you can barely see it.
And he's made good progress because he was at the very back. So Dylan Freckleton gaining places, the Manxman. So Charlie Collins leads by 1.9 seconds. He is still the driver with the fastest lap of the race to his name. Job second, Berryman third, Chadwick fourth, Walsingham, Caruana, Gilbert, Garibaldi, Fluke and Pennington is the top 10. And in AM, it is still Scott Moakes ahead. And Scott has not had a win this season. So if he can hang on in there, that will be a very popular result. Charlie Collins, meantime, is making this look easy, isn't he? He's doing what we used to see Sebastian Job do. Qualify well, dominate the race from the front.
Well, we saw this last time out at Silverstone, didn't we, in that first race? Yeah. Charlie was able to... It was that second race that let Charlie down. The difficulties he had in moving through the field and trying to maximise his points from that week. Although he did get 18 from the week, so did do the best of all the pros. But yeah, Charlie's just seemingly just found a turn of pace suddenly, and has found a vein of form, and he's mining it now, trying everything he can to really haul himself into that championship fight.
And he's getting there, isn't he? Bit by bit. 61 points for Will Chadwick versus 47 for Charlie Collins. Make that 49 because you get 2 for pole position, which Charlie Collins secured. So, yeah, he's getting closer all the time to Job for second. And net, he's closing on Chadwick for the championship lead with 6 races to go after the second one here. Meanwhile, Collins to Job is gone up 2 seconds. Job to Berryman is already up to 6/10, and Berryman to Chadwick is hovering about the 1 second mark. So Will Chadwick hustling on. Last time through, Chadwick did a 44.1, Berryman did a 44.2. So there's not much to choose between them, but Will Chadwick fractionally the quicker.
Charlie Collins is the only driver who has consistently been in the 43s. Every other driver is in the 44s or 45s, so that just tells you the level that he's working at. Scott Brazier dropping down the order there, so issues for Scott dropping back. Chrissy Zaruta, interesting to see, up to 21st now.
Yeah, he's getting there, isn't he? He's getting through the AM traffic, so that now puts him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th in class, and I think he can gain more places before the end. He's got a bit of time on his side, so about half distance, 13 minutes. Christian Charuta going well. Meanwhile, Charlie Collins' advantage is up to 2 seconds. Sebastian Joe, we know from the past, don't we, that Sebastian knows how to win a championship, and if he does not feel he's got the pace, he'll just sit there and bank points. He's not going to throw the car off. Yeah, he'd like the win, he'd like the points for it, but Sebastian knows how you build a championship.
It's just so much experience that he's got at top level esports, and yeah, he's definitely been there, done it, worn the t-shirt, got the cap, not a flat cap, and certainly
well, no, they don't have those in Eastbridge, don't they?
But Charlie Collins, you know, he is somebody, as you mentioned, David, we've not seen him apart from the season in this series, but in Porsche Esports Super Cup, he finished second in one of the seasons that he's competed in that championship. So he can compete with the very best in the world of sim racing, can Charlie?
Now, Remy Gilbert has flattered to deceive a little bit. On occasions he's been really good, on occasions he's been not quite where you expect. He's had a win, he's had a second, but right now he's 7th, and you're riding on board with the Team Bennett car. That is Matt Caruana just up the road ahead, 11 minutes change on the clock. Gilbert there or thereabouts. Caruana's got a bit stuck behind Aidan Walsingham as they come down towards turn 10, the Lacacia left-hander. Brake hard, turn in, road starts to climb a little bit here as you go left and left and left, and then it tightens a little bit at 11, and then you open up the steering, go right into turn 12, and this is a long corner.
And it's so frustrating, this corner as well. I can tell you from experience of racing around here in the sim, and you get impatient at times, and you think you can get on the throttle when actually you can't. As Gareth Higgins finding the rallycross circuit, it looked like he was veering from.
Yeah, he's still going, but as you say, he's had a drama, and there's the replay. It was quite a moment, wasn't it? Thankfully, he kept it off everything solid, but Gareth Higgins back into the race. Now, more dramas. Aidan Walsingham is under attack. Matt Caruana tries to squeeze past him at turn 1, and that put him on the outside line for 2, so it didn't work. And now Remy Gilbert tries to get up the inside. This is coming out of turn 3. It's a long corner, and it's uphill, so momentum through that is essential. Otherwise, you're a sitting duck here for turn 4.
Oh, late look at the car there from Caruana, who was trying his best to get into the head of Aidan Walsingham, but we've seen Aidan's been it's been well worth it being up here fighting with the top end of pro. So definitely with a race win under his belt, and that podium as well earlier on in the season, we know that Aidan can fight with these drivers, and it puts on a good defence as well. All of this is allowing Garibaldi and Jamie Fluke to catch on to the back of these drivers, and Garibaldi currently in that coveted 8th place.
Which would be pole position for race 2. So he's got that dilemma, hasn't he? Does he want more points and push on for 7th or 6th or 5th? Or does he sit where he is and get pole and hope that translates into a win in race number 2? You're right, though, that queue of cars is forming up nicely, isn't it? 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, they're all there in a queue. Jamie Fluke trying to stay on the back of it. Luke Pennington is almost there, but as Aidan Walsingham has to defend, so he's taking the slower lines around the circuit. He's certainly lost touch now with Will Chadwick, but he's keeping Caruana at bay, but the line is forming behind him. 9 more minutes effectively now on the clock. Over the timing line they all go, and Charlie Collins now is very nearly into race 2. He's 2.7 seconds up the road.
And he's just been steady away, just tenths, 2 tenths, 3 tenths quicker per lap. That last lap, 3 tenths quicker than Sebastian Job. So he is feeling really comfortable right now. And for anyone new watching this championship, as well, actually, I'll wait for that moment because Caruana's looking a bit dangerous here again, looking towards the inside of turn number 4.
Aidan Walsingham now, the cork in the bottle, isn't he? He's working hard to keep everybody else at bay, but to the inside line goes Matt Caruana. That doesn't quite pay out for him. Now you've got Remy Gilbert trying to go all the way around the outside in number 42, and that does not work either. Through the kink here, coming through turn 6, then hard on the brakes at 7. Get that wrong, going too deep. You're compromised all the way through the right at 8 and up the hill towards 9. Walsingham gets it right, but look, the pressure now is huge because you've got, what, 5, nearly 6 cars in a line.
It's absolutely incredible. This is great stuff from Aidan to put on a defence like this. It's really good stuff, and you can see why BS Competition have snapped him up for their team. Whilst we've got a moment, so yeah, anyone new to this series who have never watched this championship and you're wondering about these cars, it's a fixed setup across every single car. So every car is equal except for one thing, which is brake bias. That's the only thing that they can adjust on these cars. So what you are seeing is the driver's ability to adapt to a setup that may not be to their ideal tastes. And we're seeing who are the very best at that adaptability.
One person we're not seeing is Christian Chiruta. He has headed for the pit lane, and that was a lap ago, so even if he rejoins, he's back to last. But Christian Chiruta, for some reason, is out of the race, having chipped his way back up through the class. That's a bit odd.
It was a connection issue. He's lost connection with the server, so much like you get mechanical issues in the world of full metal racing,
yep,
you get them here as well.
Right, battle on here. Caruana to the outside line, coming around Repsol, turn 4. The outside line there is the inside, if you can stand your ground, for 5, and he's almost there. He's got the inside line, he brakes late. Remy Gilbert is there as they almost lean on each other ahead. Caruana inside line at 5, I should say, and at 6, the King, and at 7, so surely he's going to make it stick. Walsingham brakes ludicrously late, gets his nose in front and goes back ahead, bouncing over the curve at turn 8. Caruana goes to the inside, partly to look and partly to defend from Remy Gilbert. That was great racing and a really good defence of that position by Aidan Walsingham. He knew exactly where the road was going to come to him, in other words, turn 8, and he did everything he could to make sure he was ahead of that part of the racetrack, and he's hung on to the position.
And Jamie Fluke is having a look at 8th as well. He wants pole position for race number 2 here. He's on the wrong part of the track though, is Jamie. And he's got to be careful because Luke Pennington is sniffing for an extra place here as well. This is sensational stuff here at the second half of your top 10.
Great racing. Jamie Fluke, whose car's gained a little bit more livery with the JF logo on the side of it, comes out of turn 14, so he's trying to attack and defend at the same time. He's in this invidious position. He's got Leo Gariboli ahead. He's got, as you say, Luke Pennington behind. We've got 5.5 minutes on the clock. Charlie Collins leads by 3.1 seconds over Sebastian Job. Pete Berryman is still there in 3rd place, which would be only his 2nd podium of the year if he can hang on in there. Then it's Chadwick, whose championship lead is ebbing away. Some crude maths are needed, but I think this might put Job ahead of him in the championship coming after this race. I'll check that in a second or two, with Walsingham 5th, and then you've got Caruana, Gilbert, Gariboli, Fluke, Pennington all in a queue behind him.
I think you're absolutely right there, David. It would put Sebastian ahead of Will going into the second race of the evening. So yeah, that could be a big effect here. Fluke right onto the tail of Leo Gariboli. Still, Aidan Walsingham. We need to get him some form of uniform or something like that, maybe a security uniform. You're not coming in. Your name's not down, so you're not coming in.
It's going to be Joe by 1 point ahead of Chadwick provisionally if things stay as they are. So you can see why we keep talking about the need for Will Chadwick to gain places, but it's just not happening for him. And Matt Caruana, his teammate, stuck behind Aidan Walsingham. So Charlie Collins has got 4 more minutes of the race to go. Been an impressive drive this, again, by Charlie. And it's going to be for him win number 3 of the season. That makes him the most successful driver as far as the pro class is concerned, assuming he gets to the end without drama.
I'm not saying anything. I've said before and I'll say it again, I have the strongest strain of commentators cursing sim racing. So Walsingham trying to breach that slipstream. Oh, he's late on the defence there into turn number 1. Caruana was about to make the move and only just did Walsingham do it in time. That was borderline very late making that defensive move.
Remy Gilbert's got a bit stuck, hasn't he? As again, Caruana is all over Walsingham like a rash as they come down now towards turn 4. Tried to go all the way around the outside here, a couple of laps back, and it didn't work. Even through 5 and 6 and 7, it didn't work. So he's got to have another think about this. This is an overtaking opportunity if you're really brave, but you've got to dive bomb the inside, and Walsingham had covered off that line already.
Whilst we're looking at this, I've been looking at the lap times. Charlie Collins, apart from lap 1, which you don't really count for a lap time, he's only dropped into the 44s twice in this entire race. Every other lap has been in the 43s. He has been a class of the field here, and it's just unbelievable pace. Can he do it in race 2 as well, though? That's the question.
Yeah, what's going to be interesting now is how he fares as far as the championship is concerned. It's a kind of late run from Charlie Collins, but there's a lot at stake for him now, isn't there? And he's going to be in the mix as well.
It's all about timing, and it's all about having form. And I know there's a commentator that I know from the world of rugby who hates the term, but I'm going to use it. He's carrying momentum into the second half of the season now, and he's after that win at Silverstone last time out, and here with the performance that he's putting on today, he's just a class of everybody else now, and he's got that momentum behind him.
And he's got 2 points for pole. There's potentially the 12 points for winning race 1. That would mean that for race 2 here, you're going to have Job on 68 points, Chadwick 67, and Collins on 61. He could be the champion come the end of the year if he carries on like this. As you look at Aidan Walsingham hard at work, look back from his car, and that's Matt Caruana having a look to the inside, and Aidan Walsingham is completely aware of what's going on and able to close the door with 94 seconds to go now.
It's going to get a bit more desperation, I think, needed from Matt Caruana. It is a difficult circuit to overtake at. The drivers have said that in the past, but it's not impossible to do. But when you get stuck behind somebody for so long and you've tried everything you try doesn't work, you then start falling into their speed and their pace, and before you know it, you're then braking at the same point, you're taking the same lines, and you can't get past them.
Now we've got a minute to go. Charlie Collins is on lap number 14, and I think he's going to be able to get one more lap out of the race, looking at where he is on the track relative to the clock. Meanwhile, you're looking at the Caruana, Gilbert, Garibaldi queue, all stuck behind Aidan Walsingham. There he is coming up now from turn 12 on towards the Europe car 13, and then down towards turn 14, the motorbike cut through you've seen to the right-hand side. So onto the last lap of the race now goes Charlie Collins. It's Sebastian Job second, over 3 seconds back. Pete Berryman third, and Will Chadwick, after being quite feisty early on, struggled to build on that.
He has got that gap between him and Berryman down, but by not enough. He's not close enough to make any moves, so I think he's going to have to settle for 4th place here and hope that he can have a good run at the start of the second race with that reverse grid starting in 5th. So that's what he'll be hoping for, and hoping that Job and Collins get tangling with each other potentially.
Scott Mopes is on target for the AM win, first of the season for him. possibly a first ever. Needs to have a quick check on that, but he's not been a regular winner, if at all. Meanwhile, here you've got Walsingham fending off Caruana yet again. Gilbert next up. Then it is Garibaldi, Fluke and Pennington. You've got to say, Matt Caruana has tried pretty much everything in this race to get past Aidan Walsingham, who's got the world's widest 911, and he is not to be denied that 5th place. The leader in the meantime, Charlie Collins, though, is pretty much on his way to the checkered flag. Coming now out of turn 10, the Lacacia left-hander climbs the hill through 11, goes right at 12, short straight to 13, longer straight down the hill to 14, and then the very long pit straight to the flag as Caruana gets up the inside of Walsingham. This, remember, is 5th and 6th, but again, Aidan Walsingham stands his ground and the road comes back to him. Checkered flag at the ready for Charlie Collins. It's going to be win number 3. He'll have won more races than anybody this season. Charlie Collins wins in Barcelona. Sebastian Jobe is set for 2nd place. Merriman for 3rd, and Walsingham has fended off Caruana, who's under attack. Look now from Remy Gilbert. The rain is coming as well. Over the line, then it's going to be Walsingham to take 5th, Caruana just 6th, 7th is Gilbert, 8th is Garibaldi, pole for race 2, 9th is Jamie Fluke, and 10th is Luke Pennington. That all got very leery at the end, and the spots of rain falling, I think, are going to be crucial for what we have in race 2, aren't they?
They certainly are. They're going to have a big effect in race 2, and I think that could also affect how drivers attack that second race. But what a performance again from Charlie Collins. Absolutely imperious at the front of the field.
So 15 laps done by Charlie Collins to win by very nearly 4 seconds. Sebastian Jobe taking 2nd place, Pete Berryman 3rd. 4th to Will Chadwick, then Aidan Walsingham, Matt Caruana, Remy Gilbert, Leo Garibaldi, Jamie Fluke, Luke Pennington to round out the top 10, all in one breath. James Dennison went well to be 11th, ahead of Crofton Woodhatch and Jacob Tofts, with 14th to Will Eatwell. Scott Moakes, Guy Edwards and Kieran Harding, the provisional top 3 in AM. Then Gareth Higgins after a spin. Sebastian Hawkins was 19th. And Scott Brazier rounding out the top 20. 21st to Dylan Freckleton. Gordon Marshall came next ahead of Fraser Hart and James Parker. And we lost Christian Scheruter after his connection issue. So the rain is falling, and I think that's set in now for race 2. The drivers get just a 3-minute warm-up session, then they will rejoin the server and grid up. But this is certainly making the championship interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, this is really good to mix things up here, and it's been a couple of rounds since Alton Park when we last had some rain affect a race here, so it is coming in, and it's a big band of rain coming in, so you're absolutely right, David. It's going to be set in for the next 2 races. Now, the question is the track going to be wet enough at the start of the race, like we saw last year at Donington Park, where some took wet, some took dries, and the track came to those with wet tyres later on in the race. It's going to be a bit of a gamble maybe for 1 or 2 drivers.
You have taken the question I was about to pose to you, because looking at it, you would say it is not yet wet enough.
The problem for me, though, is because we've got a standing start, the tyres are relatively cool. So that means that you've not got that build-up of tyre temperature there. So you want that tyre temperature in a slick tyre, and then you have to retain that temperature to give it the grip. As soon as you lose that temperature on wet conditions, then it becomes like an ice rink.
Remy Gilbert you're riding with, and actually there are elements to this where it looks, I was going to say dry necessarily, but less wet than elsewhere. So here, for example, no spots of rain falling, and this is perhaps the worst scenario for a driver, whether it's in sim or real world racing. It's the fact that it's not a consistent amount of grip all the way around.
But one thing you've got to be careful of is painted surfaces, so curbs as well, and those white lines, that they will catch you out. I found that out on Monday night in a race series. 7 times I spun at one corner in particular, so the wet weather and those white lines will really catch you out, and before you know it, you're facing the wrong way. 7 spins. At one corner, yes.
Well, glad to see you're improving.
Consistency, David.
Indeed so, indeed. And you've got to know where the limit is, haven't you? Yeah. Right. the warm-up session is done. The rain starts to fall, but it's not quite enough to take your flat cap off and put it in your pocket for fear of watching TV in a damp cap all night. It's still not quite that wet. But let's have a look at how they're going to line up then, with Leo Gariboldi on pole position and Remy Gilbert for second. Matt Caruana will start third, Aidan Walsingham fourth ahead of Will Chadwick, who needs points here to get the advantage back in the championship, and then Pete Berryman. Sebastian Job will go from seventh, race one winner Charlie Collins from eighth. Then it's Jamie Fluke and Luke Pennington ahead of James Dennison and Crofton Woodhatch. 13th is where Jacob Tofts will start, ahead of Will Eatwell, then Scott Mokes and Guy Edwards. Kieran Harding is ahead of Gareth Higgins on the grid. 19th, Sebastian Hawkins, ahead of Scott Brazier, Dylan Freckleton. Gordon Marshall is 22nd, Fraser Hart 23rd, and then you've got James Parker, and hopefully Christian Charuta is going to be there at the back. So his winning streak, 5 in a row, that's come to an end. He had been able to join the server again for the warm-up, so that's good. The rain starts to fall as we're into the final minute before the race gets underway. You can see the grid starting to build. Pole position on the outside line on that one-by-one staggered grid formation. And with a new championship leader then, Sebastian Job, who is 4 times Carrera Cup GB Esports champion. He's going to have to work hard this time from 7th, but this promises to be a really interesting race. In the darkness, in the rain, in Barcelona.
I'm going to throw this out there, David. I would be starting on wet tyres, personally.
Okay.
But
is there any quick way of differentiating by the sidewalls? There's not, is there? That looks
not
like
really, no.
Right, this is going to be absolutely fascinating, isn't it, to see who has made the right choice, who has made the wrong choice. The rain is intensifying. It is the 10th race of Porsche Esports Carrera Cup Great Britain. It's race 2 from Barcelona. It's dark, it's wet, it's 25 minutes. It's Leo Gariboldi on pole position. And as the engine notes rise, it is go. And a blast-off start by Gariboldi then to try to convert pole into the race lead. Good getaway by Charlie Collins from further back as they accelerate down towards turn 1. Aidan Walsingham is in the middle of all of this, so is Sebastian Job. And with the rain and the spray being generated, it's 3 wide down towards turn 1. One car sideways and in the wall already. Is that possibly Charlie Collins?
Pennington.
Luke Pennington. Forgive me, similar livery. It's Gariboldi in the lead then. It's Gilbert second. Sebastian Job is 5th, trying to go around the outside of Will Chadwick, and Chadwick does not need to allow that to happen then. So Gilbert takes over the lead. Gariboldi drops to 2nd place, but it's going to be very tippy-toey on this first lap.
Yeah, once you get the temperature in the tyres, then yeah, absolutely you'll be able to push on, but this first couple of laps are going to be key, and this is the opportunity for drivers to make some moves, and there's a move from Sebastian Job on Will Chadwick again.
So this is where perhaps Sebastian Job asserts himself over Will in the championship, but equally Charlie Collins is the other danger, and Charlie is in 6th, so he's made a little bit of progress already from where he started, 8th, as the cars now head uphill out of turn 8. Remy Gilbert, don't forget, is not only the race leader, but he's a race winner. He won at Alton Park.
Yeah, and it's what he can do now at the front. Can he make a breakaway with those different conditions? Everything that you've learned so far tonight, well, you can put that on the back burner. But you're going to be seeing drivers taking this wide line. You don't want to be on that polished surface on the racing line, because that is very slippy in these wet weather conditions. But don't get on the white lines either.
Yeah, Pete Berryman having a variety of lines, quite often the outside line, what looks like the wrong line, has a little bit more grip on it. That's why you'll find drivers in the wet taking these unusual lines as they come up towards the end of lap number 1. Then Leo Gariboldi back ahead of Remy Gilbert, so Gariboldi leads the way in the rather understated colour scheme. Gilbert 2nd, Caruana 3rd, Chadwick 4th. Getting the replay of how the lead changed here. Look, going up towards turn 12. Gilbert going deep into the corner, and that just left the door wide open. Leo Gariboldi through, but Gilbert's gone back ahead at the end of the pit straight. Then he runs off the road. Got to be careful how to rejoin there. that may well also get a bit of a finger wag. Gary Bowley's going to get back into the lead, but if you normally run off the circuit there's a kind of rejoin lane here where you blend back in so you don't create mayhem. Gary Bowley versus Gilbert. Now Chadwick, look, is up to third. He's jumped Job and he's jumped Caruana. So Chadwick now is back at the races.
Yeah, it's all chop and change at the front here. This is great stuff, and it's great to see all these drivers keeping it mostly on track as well. It's a real challenge, is weather here in sim racing, and well, it'll be interesting to see what lap times they're able to pull off at the end of this lap, because remember, of course, standing start, so that first lap won't be a comparable lap time, but 1:43 is not first race. You're going to be looking in the high 150s, in my opinion.
So the clock ticks on down, and it's pretty much the leading 10 all in a line. Getting a replay of the start on board with Luke Pennington, who accelerates away. Wiper on, see the rain. Goes down towards turn 1 now. Exit stage left. Was it down to him, or was there contact? Oh, suddenly arrives on the back of another car, has to take evasive action, loses control, and skates into the gravel. Luke Pennington tumbles to last place. He is still running, and he's got himself back ahead of James Parker, so he is still circulating, as Leo Gariboli is hanging on to the race lead. So a good effort this by Leo. He has had a win in the past, albeit that was last season. The best he's had this year was second in the reverse grid race at Alton Park, and he's got Gilbert behind him, and then it's Chadwick, Job, Caruana. Matt Caruana needs to get past Job and help his teammate Chadwick in the championship, doesn't he?
He does, especially with Remy Gilbert also putting the moves on for the lead. Has he gone too deep again? Yes, he has, and Gary Bowley takes it. Chadwick and Job are together as well. This is great stuff at the front.
It is indeed, and Caruana's trying to get up the inside of Job, who's trying to go around the outside of Chadwick, and he has done so, but he's on the wrong line, the slower line. Chadwick's got his nose back in front, look on the way to 4. Caruana needs to try to dive bomb up the inside as well here. He's almost there, but Job around the outside of Chadwick. That will give him the inside line for the next corner. Will Chadwick gets back in front, secures the place. Right, Caruana needs to full send up the inside, going down the hill here into 5, and he can't do it. But Job goes wide and finds a bit more traction, and he's level with Chadwick coming off the corner. He's back ahead of Chadwick, but Will's got the inside line for 7. He's going to have to brake very, very late indeed, which he does. Job's going to brave it out on the outside. Chadwick snaps sideways, and Job gets back ahead of him.
And Caruana goes through as well, and that shows you the difference between taking that wet line around the outside of the hairpin at turn 5. Brilliant stuff from Sebastian. He knew he could get the power down, and it worked out beautifully for him.
And there's about to be a change again, I think, between Chadwick and Caruana. Will on the inside, Matt on the outside. And Will Chadwick does go through and secure the place. I was going to suggest that that moment down at 7 and 8 answered the question we posed to them at the end of the previous round about team orders. And look at this, Chadwick back up the inside of Joe. So 2 back, 2 up potentially. He's gone through again on the inside of 13. Will Chadwick is on an absolute mission here. It's not quite worked out for him, or has it? Down they come. This is Caruana's view. No, Job stays ahead, but Will Chadwick seems to go really well in these conditions. He's been up and down the order, and he's definitely taking the battle to the championship leader here.
He certainly is, and he needs to. That's the thing. It's now a case of he needs to start fighting and getting those places. Can Gilbert keep it on track this time into 1? Well, he's used Leo Gariboli to slow himself down a little bit to a degree, but he's made it through. I don't think Leo will be too happy with that move, but the gap was there. He made the move, and he stuck it.
And he's been threatening to do that, hasn't he, for a number of laps. Don't forget he has led before and then ran wide and gave it back to Gariboli. And I think this time Remy Gilbert has made it stick. Sebastian Job then up 4 places, looking for a 5th against Leo Gariboli. Then you've got Chadwick with Caruana coming under attack from the race 1 winner, Charlie Collins. And don't forget, the more he creeps up the order, the more of a threat he's going to become in the championship. Although at the moment his 2 rivals are outscoring him, but I get the feeling that Collins ain't done yet with 18 minutes to go.
Well, plenty of time left in this race for Charlie to move forward and get into this championship fight and really assert his performance there. Fluke behind Jacob Tofts. Tofts, of course, has that bit of real-world experience of wet weather racing in the Sprint Challenge, so it may be using that to his advantage here in the sim.
Pete Berryman going deep into the corner in the bright red car further up the queue. Behind Jacob Tofts is Jamie Fluke, and behind him is Crofton Woodhatch, so there's another good battle pack building up here nicely behind that Duckham's delivered car of Jacob Tofts. Meanwhile, we're on lap 4. It was 15 laps in the earlier race that was dry. Just wonder whether 14 is more likely with these changing conditions, but we'll see. Up towards the timing line comes Remy Gilbert. He is now edging away, isn't he? It took him a long time to finally get past Leo Gariboli, but now that he's done it, he's away and gone. And what about Job to Chadwick? 0.3 of a second. It looks now as though Sebastian is asserting himself slightly, although you've got Chadwick, Caruana, Collins, Berryman, all in a group.
Yeah, this is all tripping over each other, and Caruana's trying his best to hang on to that place ahead of Charlie Collins, and he's having to do a little bit of a rear gunner performance here, but Caruana's losing out some big points to Remy Gilbert in this race, in their whole championship fight for 4th place coming into this week. So there was only 2 points separating them before race number 1 of the evening. So Caruana himself and Chadwick just seem to get a little bit stuck, don't they, this week, and not really moving forward.
Although, a couple of laps ago, Chadwick was the real mover. Up the order, down the order, fighting back. But now, whether this is down to setup, it looks as though Job's got the stronger car. Caruana here is in 5th place, and Chadwick knows the importance of getting past Job, but he's just losing fractions of a second. Now, is that because he's having to defend from Caruana, and therefore it's every man for himself, and they're not working together, or has Job got the stronger setup? You can see they all fan out across the road. The other one that I'm keeping an eye on is Collins, because he looks as though he's about to gain a place off Matt Caruana coming down towards 10, and he's done it. Has he on the inside line? Collins goes 5th now.
Not only have they got the rain and the spray to worry about, they've also got gravel there at that hairpin down at turn 10. So somebody's been off in the kitty litter and dragged that back on track. Berryman's trying to get involved with Caruana. So Caruana's starting to move backwards in all of this. Luke Pennington, last lap, set the fastest lap of the race down there in 20th place.
So race leader, Remy Gilbert, now over a second to the good. Getting a replay of Fraser Hart, whose sat-nav has stopped working at turn 1, and there's another car in the gravel as well. That
That's
it might have been. Yes, it had that look to the livery, didn't it?
Well, there's Dennison having his... Oh, no, it must have been Dennison.
Yes, you're quite right. Few. So, thankfully, Christian Chiruta doesn't have another drama. Meanwhile, Gilbert, Gariboli, Job is your top 3. Now, Charlie Collins, 0.3 back, it will take from Will Chadwick. Can Collins gain another place before the end?
I'm going to say yes. With the level of performance he's been showing this week, yes. As looking to the inside of Job there was Chadwick. So Chadwick's not given that one up yet. Yeah, it's really thrown up some interesting overtaking opportunities with that wet line, hasn't it?
Yeah, and the fact here that you've got 3 championship leaders in the pack rather than up front. So they've got cars 4 and aft, Job 3rd, Chadwick 4th, Collins 5th, Matt Caruana unable to help his teammate by repelling the effort of Charlie Collins. So they come through with the moment, the best lap of the race being Remy Gilbert, I think I'm right in saying, from early on. He is the man with the clear bit of road ahead of him. The good news for Gilbert is he's away from the traffic now. He doesn't have to worry about defending. He can drive his own race. But the bad news is he's the pioneer. Every lap, he's the first one to arrive at a corner and see whether or not the grip level has changed from that previous lap. Look at second place, though. Gariboli has got Job right up behind him. The longer Leo Gariboli can defend, the more likely Will Chadwick is of being back up with a sideways Job.
There's puddles starting to form on curbs now as well. The track is getting wetter and wetter. Every car is on wet tyres, quite obviously, because if they weren't, they wouldn't be on track right now. Job looking left and right. Oh, contact between the two of them, and Job's off!
Way wide through the gravel he goes. He'll keep his foot in, he will rejoin, but how many places is that going to cost him? Chadwick's past him, Collins is past him, Caruana and Berryman are past him as well, Walsingham is past him, and Job is down to 8th. I don't think he's going to stay 8th, but this could be very, very significant for the championship. We don't see many mistakes from Sebastian Job, but that was a critical one.
I think Sebastian will be saying that that Leo was moving across in the braking zone. Leo only has to leave a car's width on the outside there, so it's always tricky making that braking move down into turn number 1, and trying to go the long way around is even more difficult.
Indeed so, and it bit Sebastian Job, didn't it? Down in 8th place now. Jamie Fluke crawling all over the back of him, and the Jacob Toft is in 10th at the halfway mark. Then just under 12 minutes of the race to go. Remy Gilbert looking for a second victory of the season, and Will Chadwick then now third ahead of his championship rivals Collins and Job, who is down in 8th place. Get the abacus ready, because this is really going to set us up very nicely for Thruxton, isn't it, with a very jumbled order to race 2 here.
Don't trust my maths, I only got a D at GCSE, so it wasn't that good. So I need an envelope and a pen, I think is what I need right now.
As long as you're not taking your socks off, we'll be all blessed. Charlie Collins, in the meantime, charges on. There he is in pursuit of Will Chadwick. And Chadwick's losing touch with Garibaldi because he's having to defend. That's not really what he needs, but it's where he sits at the moment. And here comes Collins on the attack as they come over the line.
Collins, he wants to move forward in all of this. Look at this, absolutely mirror to mirror down into turn number 1. Now Collins is going to have the better line on the outside through the corner. He should be able to carry the speed. Look at that, Chadwick was getting loose because he had to cross the racing line. That cost him, and Collins is through.
So Collins then goes up to 3rd place. Chadwick drops to 4th. And Sebastian Job, in the meantime, is still in 8th place. And don't forget, in race 2, 8th is the last position that you can get a point. So 69 points it would be for Sebastian Job if things stay as they are now. It would be 72 for Chadwick and 67 for Charlie Collins. But Collins, now that he's hit 3rd, still isn't done, is he? He could yet get 2nd off Garibaldi.
I don't think that he'll be quite have enough pace with 10 minutes to go to catch up to Gilbert in all of this, and we've seen that Leo Garibaldi can defend a position as well. He's got those podiums in the past this season. Of course, in the opening round he got that by virtue of somebody getting a penalty, but then got himself a podium a couple of rounds ago on the race number 2, so he knows what it takes to hold on to a podium place, does Leo, and he'll want to get that 2nd step.
Absolutely right, as Charlie Collins hustles on. Now Charlie's last lap was a 58.06, that was 5 thousandths slower than Leo Garibaldi, and 2 thousandths slower than Remy Gilbert. So in terms of a lap time, they're all pretty evenly matched, but we know that Charlie Collins is quick. He won race 1, he was on pole position through that natural qualifying session. So in terms of pure pace, you anticipate Collins now to get on with the job, and look, he is getting away from Chadwick.
Yeah, he's got the hammer down, and we called it, didn't we? Hey, it's almost like we know something, David. We both said that he'd get past Chadwick, and he has done. And Will, we have seen him be a master of these conditions, of these wet races, but today it's just he's reached a sort of plateau, and now he's got his teammate all over him again. You know, Caruana had dropped back a little bit, and look at this, Collins straight away looking to the inside of Leo Garibaldi in front.
Now interestingly, we are currently on lap 9, and the timing data that we're getting is now offering an anticipated 13 laps. Remember, it was 15 in the dry-in race 1. I was wondering whether it might be 14. Well, the analytics are suggesting 13 is the duration. And look at Collins crawling all over the back of Leo Garibaldi. So this is for 2nd place, and there's not really a gap there, but Charlie Collins has most definitely had the hammer down on this lap, and he's gobbled away at the gap between himself and the 2nd place car of early race leader Leo Garibaldi just up the road ahead. Out of 13 they will come then. Drop downhill in a moment. and all the while Remy Gilbert's lead of 2 seconds is perhaps in jeopardy because Charlie Collins is charging on. They come down now towards La Caixa. This is a part of the racetrack where you might be able to force a mistake, and with the gravel on the road, as you say, up now towards 12 they will come. I was slightly ahead of myself on that lap, but there's a couple more corners yet before really Charlie Collins can plan a move. And if he wants to attack at turn 1, he's got to start here. A good exit from 13, stay all the way in the wheel tracks of Leo Gariboli, all the way down the hill. Gariboli is sideways, look, coming off the corner, and Collins, I think, is going to have a run at him into turn 1.
Look at the speed that Collins is able to carry through that last corner. Oh my goodness, he's not even going to wait for turn number 1. He's going to pass him down the straight here. This is great stuff from Charlie Collins. And, well, he's getting the hammer down, and he's made it. He's through.
I'm in a second place then, so from 8th on the grid to 2nd, and not only has he got through, he's got the car slowed down. He's inch perfect, isn't he, going through turn 1 and 2 and on towards 3. While all that's going on, Job is still stuck in 8th, and Chadwick is still stuck in 4th. So back to the abacus, because now Charlie Collins will get another point, having gained that place. In other words, he's going to be...
wide.
Go on.
He's lost the place to Fluke, so Job ran wide through 3. It must have touched the white line. They want to get as wide as possible through turn 3, and he's just touched that white line, and it's understeered off.
And that means he's out of the points. So Sebastian Job at the moment is sat on 0. He's about to gain a point though as Berryman spins and he gets collected by Caruana. All shuffle again, coming out of turn 4 into 5. And Matt Caruana was delayed as Pete Berryman spun ahead of him. Berryman is there. Look, number 50, he's back into the race, squabbling now with Croft and Woodhatch. So all of a sudden, Job has gone from 9th back up to 7th. He's back in the points.
And he's actually in a better points-paying spot now than when he started the lap.
Right, I've given up on my abacus now because it's all changing. And in these conditions, you've got Scott Moakes heading for a second and win. Replay, Berryman gets it wrong. Caruana was wrong in sympathy and then found Berryman in his way. They both rejoined, but both probably kicking themselves after that error.
It's so easily done though in these conditions. No ABS or traction control for these drivers in this series, so it's not available to them in this championship, so it's all down to driver ability, and it's a slightly downhill braking into that turn as well, so it's so easy to just miss your braking point and just go deep.
Now they're coming up towards the timing line. Jacob Toft goes through. So let's just recap the order after all those dramas. Gilbert, Collins, Gariboli, Chadwick, the top 4, which was ever thus. 5th is Aidan Walsingham. 6th now is JB Fluke. Sebastian Job, who was 9th, is back up to 7th. Jacob Tofts is 8th for the last point. He's just got ahead of Pete Berryman. Matt Caruana is 10th. Crofton Woodhatch is 11th. Gareth Higgins is 12th. And 13th is your leading Scott Moakes. We've got just under 5 minutes of the race to go. And Gilbert leads by 2 seconds from Charlie Collins, who last time through was fractionally faster.
Maybe Bernie Eccleston was onto something when he said get some sprinklers out. But anyway, wet weather suddenly turns things on its head, and Berryman sideways through 4, trying his best to get ahead of Toft. Toft's all manner of out of control into 5, but he gets it stopped. Oh, take a breath, David, because it's action aplenty.
And we're not done yet either. The lead gap's just come down by 0.3 of a second. Gilbert being chased by Collins. Tofts and Berryman are together. There's gravel on the road. There's rain. There's everything. It's like a rally stage, this now, as Berryman comes under attack from the delayed Matt Caruana. So the race-leading Remy Gilbert now asserts himself again, pulls out the 3/10, and then Collins gets it back at the next timing point. So it's very much an elasticated lead situation as they're going into turn 10. Tofts, Berryman, Caruana, and Crofton Woodhatch.
I mean, Porsche do make a very capable rally car for tarmac rallying in Europe, so they certainly know what they're doing here in these conditions. Look at that. This is Scott Brazier then. That's wide through 3, and lost control on the curbing there in the braking, and off he went, and that would have been the Scottish driver who's gone off there with him, Gordon Marshall.
Indeed so, as the leaders go by. Then starting now lap 12, and although the prediction was 13 laps, that might be okay. Pete Berryman is still on the attack against Jacob Tofts. And he's going to go through, is he? Yes, a little bit of contact as the tail wagged. And then he's sideways, and that's going to attack Tofts, who gets turned around and collected by Caruana. Mayhem breaks out going through too, and that's largely a legacy of the weather conditions, I think, but Berryman has benefited. Tofts certainly was compromised in all of that, and so was Matt Caruana, who had people bouncing off him left and right, and now Crofton Woodhatch gets up past Caruana as they break for turn 4, and Gareth Higgins is trying to join the mix as well.
I was going to say the innocent party in all of that was Crofton Woodhatch, because he got slammed by Caruana's recovery efforts from all of that. Tofts is back ahead. Oh, Berryman's off again at turn number 5. That's his second time in this race. He's not going for my record of 7, is he?
He's not got enough time for that, no. But he's down to 12th place. There's the replay, just all self-induced, too much speed carried in. The back tries to overtake the front, and Pete Berryman, he's having another tough day at the office. Remy Gilbert, meantime, has excelled in these conditions, but look at Collins, a second and a half back. Charlie is going to run out of time, but it's certainly not for the want of trying. Here, Tofts comes down towards turn 10, and the leader is about to start, or soon will start, the last lap, and it will be lap 13.
Crofton Woodhatch, take a bow. That was a lovely move there on Matt Caruana. Matt's not going to give up, and Gareth Higgins trying to go around the outside there. But yeah, Crofton Woodhatch, nice move done down there into turn 10.
Gareth Higgins currently in 11th place. The AM leader still is Scott Mokes, who's going to do the double here. So like buses, you wait for a long time and then they all come at once. It's going to be like that for the wins. Meanwhile, Remy Gilbert, 1.2 seconds ahead of Charlie Collins. Charlie is going to be very, very close at the end, isn't it? They could well be nose to tail. If we had 2 more laps, I think Charlie Collins might be able to have a go for the win. He's going to run out of time, but what a drive this has been. He's now down to 9/10 of a second on the last lap of the race.
Remy needs to keep this car on the asphalt now. He can't afford any mistakes, because if he does so, Collins will be there. He'll be all over him, and he'll not be asked twice to make a move. That's for sure.
So they accelerate then down towards turn 5, 42. The Bennett car, that is Remy Gilbert, and Charlie Collins charging on, but you can see the way the gap's going up and down, 9/10, then it's back up to 1.3. Is Collins having to think now about settling for second and just banking points, or is he still going all guns blazing? The tail wags on Remy Gilbert's car, and that might just enable Charlie Collins to close up, and now Woodhatch has a drama and slithers off the racetrack.
Oh, just when I was singing his praises, it's my fault. Sorry, Crofton. That's all on me. No, it's too fast into that hairpin. Yeah. That's been a tricky corner, this second race.
That's called doing a Berryman, I think, isn't it? Well, it got all the way from Crofton Woodhatch. Remy Gilbert's got enough in hand, I reckon, as he comes up from 10 to hang on to this for a second victory of the season. Charlie Collins for second place, Leo Gariboli for third, then you've got Walsingham, Chadwick, Job's gained another place. Look, he's into the top 6 now after all the dramas that we've had over the last couple of laps. Then you've got Fluke, you've got Toft, you've got Caruana, and you've got Berryman. Down towards turn 14, what a race it has turned out to be, and what a significant event it has turned out to be for the championship. Remy Gilbert takes win number 2 of the season as he comes across the line to win. Charlie Collins, 8th he started, 2nd he finishes, and a win and a second is a real back raid of points. 3rd is Gary Bowley, Walsingham 4th, 5th is Chadwick, Job 6th, Jamie Fluke takes 7th ahead of Tofts, Caruana, Berryman, and Woodhatch, after his most recent incident, is going to be in 11th place. Scott Mokes for 13th takes another AM win ahead of Kieran Harding and Guy Edwards. Well, Remy Gilbert take a bow, because that was a great drive, but Charlie Collins, for my money, has been the driver of the day. A win and a second, and on the attack all the time. Outstanding stuff.
Oh, for sure. There's no doubt that Charlie Collins is the driver of the day for me. Being able to do that in those conditions as well, when others were falling. I mean, even Sebastian Job making mistakes in that race, not just around turn 3, but that move down into turn 1 as well. So yeah, Sebastian had not a good day for him, but it's a great day for Charlie when your contenders that you're fighting against have had not a good one.
So Remy Gilbert takes the win, Charlie Collins 2nd, and Leo Gariboli in 3rd. Aidan Walsingham for 4th, Will Chadwick 5th, and Sebastian Job in 6th. Remember, at one point, he was out of the points. Jamie Fluke takes 7th. In 8th place, Jacob Tofts. 9th goes the way of Matt Caruana, and Pete Berryman, with another yo-yo sort of a race, rounds out the top 10. Crofton Woodhatch next from Gareth Higgins. Then 13th, 14th, 15th, the top 3 in AMP. Scott Mokes, Kieran Harding and Guy Edwards ahead of Will Eachwell. Luke Pennington 17th after his turn 1 dramas. After that, you had James Dennison, who also went off at turn 1. Christian Charuta 19th, tough night for him. Gordon Marshall coming home in 20th place from Dylan Freckleton. Sebastian Hawkins, Scott Brazier and Fraser Hart. Now, James Parker, did he just drop a lap or did he disconnect? Can't tell you, I'm afraid, instantly, but he is 25th. Well, what a drive, what a night as far as Charlie Collins is concerned, and he will make his way shortly, I think, to our broadcast channel, at which point he can reflect on a bank raid of an evening as far as points are concerned. He ends up with 8 points from that, so 69 he has. Will Chadwick, where do we end up with Will in the end? He was in 5th place, sorry. So he is on 72, and Sebastian Job for 6th gets 3, so 71. So Chadwick 72, Job 71, Collins 69. Championship has come alive. It was a 2-horse race at the start of the night, and now it's 3. And Charlie Collins is one of those, Paul, ready and waiting for you.
Yeah, we'll speak to Charlie first. I think it's only fair because driver of the day for both of us in the commentary booth here, Charlie, that was an absolutely sensational week for you this week. First race, you had to make the defensive moves on lap 1, and then you were just able to slowly pull away from the rest of the field.
Hey fellas, thank you. Yeah, it means a lot. Yeah. I mean, going into this race, you know, it's a track that we've raced it in PESC over the years that I've done it. So I felt pretty comfortable and confident coming in, and I knew when I executed in qualifying, it was just about controlling the controllables from there. And after lap 1, turn 1, I just set my sights straight ahead and didn't look back.
And so a commanding win for you in the end in that first race over Sebastian Job. But then race number 2 is where you really sort of came alive here. Just talk to us, the difference in the conditions. Just how bad was it? Because we saw some people really struggling for grip out there.
Yeah, it's really difficult. I think something that doesn't get talked about is, you know, as a sim racer, we're so used to preparing like perfectly before the event in the exact same conditions, but when you go from dry to wet, of course you're not really used to the wet, so you have to get used to it on the fly. I think as we saw with the spray, it was pretty difficult, but yeah, after a few laps, it all kind of settled down a bit, and the race played out from there.
And just to very briefly touch on it, this has brought you really into the championship fight now. Second half of the season, is this now push all the way to the end of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I'm just going at it race by race. That's all I can do. I think I saw with the first half of the season, you know, so much can happen, and there's still so many races left. So yeah, for me, I'm just kind of focusing on it race by race and trying to put myself in the best position possible. And today it worked out, so I'm very happy with that.
Well, congratulations. A win, a second place, and a pole position. Not a bad haul indeed. Congratulations, Charlie.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
That was Charlie Collins. Let's grab Remy Gilbert, because this is a driver who was duking it out in race number 1. Let's talk about that first, Remy, because you were in that sort of mid-pack of the top 10. It was a queue of traffic, wasn't it, for the majority of the race?
Yeah. I mean, Matt and Aiden were going side by side for a lot of it, and I was just trying to sort of stay out of trouble and just make sure I finish in the top 8, ready for the reverse grid. But yeah, I think over the course of the season, there's been a few races where it's been a bit like not much overtaken, so it's quite nice to see some battling in front, to be fair.
And then we turn it to race number 2. I mean, to the change of conditions, you still had to fight for it, though, because Leo Gariboli put up a stern defence, didn't he?
Yeah, I think had good pace going into it. So I think I just wanted to get past quickly and see if I could pull away, which is what I did, and just managed to hold it off. I know Charlie was catching me a bit towards the end, but yeah, I think he just ran out of time. So yeah, managed to take the win.
And a really good result for you there as well, to get that win and to secure that one going into the second half of the season. Congratulations, Remy, on the race win there.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good evening.
There we go. That's Remy Gilbert. And to finish off the podium from that second race, let's grab Leo Garibaldi. Leo, first race, it worked out in terms of getting yourself into that reverse grid position from 10th on the grid. And then the second race, I mean, talk through that, because tricky conditions, having to defend against first Remy, but then the hard charging Charlie Collins. Just how was that for you tonight?
It was tough out there. I mean, we've had wet obviously before. I if anything, I actually prefer it because the tyres react better just with the way they are, but we didn't really get a chance to feel how wet it was. I mean, I know we had the 3-minute warm-up, but it wasn't as wet as it was in the actual race, so it was really hard to judge on those first few laps, which I think you could probably have seen with some of us going off, some of us braking early, late, stuff like that. So yeah, it was really tough out there, to be fair. It's probably the most we've had to adapt to something in a while.
And it's the second time we get to speak to you this season, third time on the podium after post-event issues in the first race. So a bit of a mixed bag, I think it's fair to say, for you this season. You've been getting some really good sort of hot and cold spells of getting podiums and then not getting points here and there. Just how can you try and turn that around for you in these final 3 weeks of the championship?
Honestly, it's just kind of rough. I mean, I'm no longer doing this. I don't want to say I did this full time, but I would say I'd put a lot more attention to this in the previous years. But this is the first year I've sort of stepped back from it. I'm now an engineering student. I'm trying to almost kind of break into the real world of motorsports and engineering that way. Because obviously it's not going to happen as a driver anymore. But so I just simply don't have enough time for a lot of this anymore. So that's why sometimes I'll have quite a lot of time and I can perform quite well. And then there'll be times where I literally come to the race and it's maybe like a day of practice at best. So it's just one of those things. But I mean, I'm having fun with this now. I think last year was my last real effort. I'm not to like diss myself, but I think that would be now kind of where I peak. I think I'm without being able to put that much time in ever again. I think, you know, I'm just having fun with it now.
And the important thing is to have fun with it, and you're getting yourself podiums here in what I think is the strongest field that we've had in this championship. Congratulations, Leo, on the podium here in race number 2.
Thank you very much.
And unfortunately, we seem to have lost Scott Merckx, but what we will do is we'll grab Kieran Harding here to have a chat first. I can see Scott's waiting, so we'll speak to Kieran first. I mean, talk to us through that evening, because that was quite challenging conditions in race number 2, but a couple of good results for you, Kieran.
Yes, finally managed to put 2 races together. It's been a bit of a struggle all season up to this point, so it's nice. You know, maybe could have done a little bit better in quali, but happy with it overall. And yeah, double podium, can't really complain with that.
Just not able to quite get it over Scott there in either races, but as you say, getting that double podium, does that give you a bit of momentum behind you now that you can look forward to the next few rounds?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I've had podium here and there in some of the other rounds, but just haven't been able to put it together for 2 races in a row. So yeah, Scott tonight just had the pace on me, especially in the dry. You know, in the wet race, I was gaining, and then nearly on the last lap. You know, one more lap maybe, but yeah, won't dwell on it. I'm happy with how it went tonight.
And Drive Lounge Racing will be delighted with the result nonetheless. But congratulations, 2 podiums for you today, Kieran.
Lovely, thank you. Cheers.
And we do get to speak to our double AM race winner, Scott Merckx. Scott, I can tell you that it was Donington Park GP in 2024 was your last AM win. It's taken a while, and then you suddenly got 2 in 1 week.
How has it been that long? Wow. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Just seemed to click tonight, and yeah, good lap ones, and then kept my nose clean and seemed to work out.
I mean, talk to us, because you guys, you're all involved in that mid-pack. It can get a bit brutal in the opening stages of both races. Adding to that, the condition changes in race 2. Just explain to the people at home, what are the challenges that you're having to deal with in dealing with Pro and Am as well?
Yeah, it's pretty hectic on the opening lap. So you've got the pros, which are in a massive train, and the concertina is just so much. So you have to try and make moves on the pros, but it's really hard to do. They're quick. You know, they know how to defend and put the car where it needs to be, and that can push you back, and then you can lose places in the abs. So that's really difficult. And same moving into race 2, the wet conditions that was biblical. You had to just guess into turn 1 what the conditions were going to be like. I was pretty sure Kieran was going to catch me in that one, but managed to keep it out of the gravel and on the grey stuff and bring it home.
And that should move you into 3rd place in the AM Championship as well. So onwards and upwards for you, Scott. Congratulations on the 2 AM wins today.
Fingers crossed. Thanks, guys.
Well, some very happy drivers, David, that we were getting to speak to today. We didn't have a single cross driver. That's a nice change.
And different drivers as well,
yes.
Which is also good to reflect upon for the good of the championship. So the championship very much comes alive, doesn't it? 72 points to Will Chadwick, 71 for Sebastian Job, 69 for Charlie Collins, subject to anything that Race Control have to worry about post-race. Well, for our next event in 2 weeks' time, it's back to Blighty and hopefully back to the sunshine. Thruxton, fastest circuit in the UK, is where we will be next in the Porsche Esports Carrera Cup, Great Britain. And the championship story becomes ever more fascinating. Thanks for your company tonight from Paul Smith and David Addison. It's goodbye from Barcelona.